Hey, what's up gang? Kawaii50 here, and it is time to rank Fate Grand Order's Trom Lostbelt servants, because there's a lot of super cool servants in here, and I felt like it would be super duper fun to rank them. Now, my ranking system is of course entirely my own opinion, so there's no reason for you to get all salty, and I'm going to be looking at servants both in a combination of personal design things that I enjoy, as well as their actual kit, so both things will influence my decision on the rankings. Hopefully you enjoy this video. Go ahead, like and subscribe if you like it, and let me know who your favorite servant from Lostbelt 6.5 is down in the comments. Alright, let's go ahead and get started, and let's of course do this in a flashy way with noble phantasm intros for every character. Go! So at the bottom, I am going to go ahead and put Roland, and Roland is there for a combination of reasons, one of them absolutely not being his Bond CE, which is probably one of the best Bond CEs in Fate Grand Order history. I know a lot of people were super hype about Roland, but I personally just wasn't feeling that way. He was one of those characters where I was like, it'll be cool if he gets added to the game, but he is not somebody that I am 100% looking for. On top of that, looking at his kit, I mean, his kit is okay. I like the buff removal on his second skill along with the Buster performance increase, but there's just so many other servants that showed up in Trom with kits that just absolutely wowed me, and noble phantasms that look absolutely stunning in comparison, that I just can't help but be more jazzed by each and every single one of them. So Roland, I know a lot of people are super excited for you to join FGO. Unfortunately, I am not one of them. At this point, we're going to go ahead and slot in Constantine, and Constantine is strange. I was super jazzed for him when he first got announced and when I first started to see images and noble phantasms and stuff of him, but as more and more Trom servants came out, he went lower and lower down the list. His skills are a little bit weird. He's got the ability to increase his own NP generation and draw enemies to him. This would be a really dope skill on a ruler, but on a rider, it's a little bit iffy. For his second skill, he's got the ability to increase party's attack, buster performance, and critical damage of Roman allies, so he is a very solid support for Roma in this regard. And for his third skill, he's got an ability to give everyone a buff, and on his death, he increases the power of all of his allies. So he's this really strange rider support servant that kind of wants to die. I don't really quite understand what they were super going for with this kit. And finally, his noble phantasm, it can increase only his own buster performance and nobody else, and it grants him some sort of invincibility. So his kit is kind of strange, it's kind of all over the place. His noble phantasm makes it so he doesn't want to die, but then one of his skills makes it so you absolutely do want him to die. I don't really quite know what they were thinking here with Constantine. At the bare minimum, his noble phantasm looks cool and his design is cool, but I feel like he's one of those servants that's going to need a buff sooner rather than later. Next up, we've got Ruler Moriarty, and I know some people are going to be a little salty about me ranking him this far below, but as I said, other servants just got me more and more jazzed. As far as his skills go, I really do like the solid evasion that he gets and the absolute unit skill he's got to reduce enemies' arts resistance, especially if they're evil. It's better evil destroying evil, and I've got to say I am absolutely here for it. His second skill is absolutely dope as well, granting a performance boost to all of his cards, definitely helping with his neutral damage. The thing I don't really like is his third skill's random buff. throwing critical star absorption to either arts cards or buster cards. I would much prefer if they just threw it to his arts cards, since he is an arts servant. And he's an AoE ruler on top of that. I don't really expect to see much use out of his AoE ruler potential, but it is pretty neat to have an AoE servant of an extra class joining the roster. So those are my thoughts on Moriarty ruler. Also, little bonus thing to let you know, the Chaldea motif is hidden on his outfit in a bunch of other places. Go ahead and see if you can find it. Thanks, Ryda.
永続不変の輝き、千変無限の彩り、万不不当の騎士たちよ、我が英雄を察しめせ。自は譲る、俺なる。
Next up on my list is Charlie, probably one of the most hype servants in the history of the game. He was pretty solid for me in Fate Extella Link, but overall I used Robin Hood at pretty much all opportunities. Robin Hood is one of the best characters in the game in my opinion, along with Lo Bu. Charlie's skills are pretty stacked, not going to lie. He's got that invincibility he can give to other allies, he's got that solid attack boost and extra damage against demonic and divine enemies, which is pretty nutty for some challenge quests. And of course, he's got that quick performance, critical damage boost, and an extra critical damage bonus against evil. So demonic, divine, and evil will get absolutely destroyed by the Holy Knight Charlemagne. His noble phantasm Joyeuse Ordre, which I'm sure I butchered the name of, actually looks really cool as well, and I like the fact that it reduces a lot of enemies' quick resistance. Between Charlie and another servant coming a little further down the list, I really feel like they're about to do something absolutely insane with quick on JP. So let's all go ahead and look forward to that, shall we?
騎士たる者の勇気、今こそ見せる時。
それでは参りましょう。バリエンテ、アサルト、デリカドー。プリンセッサ。
Next on my list is, of course, Don Quixote, and the man is in this spot on the list mostly for design. I think the design of this man's ascensions is absolutely incredible. Him starting out idealistic in the beginning and then becoming more of a realist as his ascensions go on, and the opposite happening for Sancho. Nice Arknights reference with Sancho, by the way. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and say that's an Arknights reference. His skills are also pretty dang solid as well. Quick and Buster with a Guts on the first skill, his second skill increasing attack, charging his NP gauge every turn, and granting star regen every single turn as well. That's actually something I really like to see on my Lancer servants, because they need some extra stars in order to make up for their generally average star weight. That third skill is kind of a crapshoot, having the potential to reduce Don Quixote's NP gauge to 0, but it's a good way for him to support his party and get them some solid critical stars. Some weird supporty Lancer stuff that we've got going on here. His Noble Phantasm is also pretty dang good in my opinion, granting the whole party a boost, granting some extra critical damage, and dealing extra damage against giant enemies, which I feel like some people that are going to end up going through Lostbelt 2 who started the game are going to find Don Quixote being a sleeper hit. You watch.
この世すべてを呪う。この世すべてが疎ましいの。バルムンク、首をはねるわ。我が憎しみを焼き付けろ。
My number 2 pick is, of course, Kriemhild, and Kriemhild is absolutely insane in basically every single aspect, in my opinion. All of her ascensions are really good. Like, it's just brilliant design-wise. That noble phantasm that you saw for her little intro is absolutely stunning, getting some mad First Hassan vibes from that. And on top of that, her kit is also absolutely incredible in the Castoria era. arts reduction on her Noble Phantasm is a absolute boon, and I feel like she's going to be dealing some insane damage as more people are able to spend some time with her. She's also got some great utility on her to go ahead and help your party, reducing enemies' NP gauge. Their defense and critical attack chance is huge on a Berserker. She's got a solid boost to her arts and buster cards, which in a breath of fresh air are most of her deck. You didn't always see that with a lot of older servants, but with Crimehild they really stuck to giving her some of these strengths. And her third skill is just something I've wanted on a Berserker forever. A scapegoat on a Berserker. Throw all of your attention on your ruler class servant, probably your Sherlock Holmes. That seems like a very good pairing here. And then just go ahead and watch Crimehild absolutely destroy whatever enemy is unlucky enough to catch her eyes. Truly a stellar servant in all possible ways, and I am very excited to see Crimehild hit NA in a couple of years. But there is one more, and those of you who followed my channel for a long time definitely knew that this man was going to be the top.
これなるは天下の乱れを正すべく南下老船より授けられし救世の秘術すなわち太平洋術なり
Zhong Zhao, leader of the Yellow Turban Rebellion, proponent of the way of peace, and of course, most importantly, Three Kingdoms servant. I really need to start my quest in earnest to grail absolutely every single Three Kingdoms servant in Fate Grand Order, and the advent of Zhong Zhao has really kicked my butt into gear when it comes to doing that. Also, Zhong Zhao is very, very impressive for a 3-star caster to boot. His General of Heaven skill gives the entire party a quick and arts bonus. His second skill is a targeted star absorption for a single ally, increases their crit damage, and removes their debuffs. And his third skill charges his NP gauge by 50%, which if you asked a year 1 FGO player if a 50% Noble Phantasm charge was going to be showing up on a 3-star servant with a slew of other effects, not just let's do this one thing like Medea and then nothing else, they would have called you insane. They would have called that busted. But Zhong Zhao has the ability to change the type of the battlefield. With the ability to do that, you can slot him in with a bunch of servants that gain benefits from different kinds of battlefields. You can slot him in with Melt. You can slot him in with Nobunaga Oda. You can slot him in with Gawain, if you so feel inclined. Not all of those are necessarily ideal, but hey, what can you do? He also has an ability to grant additional effects with his Noble Phantasm. The azure sky is dead, the yellow sky will soon rise, which... Read some Three Kingdoms and realize how incredible that is for a Noble Phantasm name. It's got an NP damage boost that activates before damage is dealt, and it has a slew of additional effects depending on what kind of battlefield you are currently on. So it really draws from the land and destroys your enemies with the will of the planet itself. Something I'm really, really excited for. I will definitely be snagging Zhong Zhao on NA the second he drops, getting him to NP5 and grailing him to 90. And while I was talking about another servant that made it seem like Quick was about to swing around and make a comeback, well, this was the man. We basically have two awesome budget Quick options between him and Wu Zeishan, so get ready. I really feel like Trom has foreshadowed a Quick renaissance. It's coming, don't you worry. And those are my thoughts on all of the Trom servants. Go ahead and let me know who your favorite servant from Trom was down in the comment section below. Let me know who you're most jazzed for, and if you're playing JP and have had a chance to play around with these servants, what sweet teams have you gone ahead and made up? Go ahead and share so we can all get ready for this Lostbelt to pop on NA in a couple of years. If you want to talk more FGO, of course, my Discord server is always open. I want to give a big thanks to the patrons on Patreon, subscribers and followers on Twitch, and of course, all of you here on YouTube for giving me the continued support that makes me want to continue making these videos. I really do appreciate it. Anyways, gang, that's it for me. This is Kawaii50, hoping you all have a phenomenal day. I'll see y'all in the next video.